man. We have so much to talk about after seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 this May 4th weekend was insane. If you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a Marvel fan, you slept and you were treated well. But oh my God, there was so many emotions, and we're excited to talk about it. This is Earth 894. We are a Marvel podcast where each week we dive into the Marvel quantum realm and pull out what's going on in the multiverse so you can know the latest scoops and news, rumors, and we're going to give some new reviews like we are right now. My name is Devin Stone, and with me is the guy that is always there jumping out of a 1,000-foot fall to our possible death to save a best friend at any point in time because he is that great at everything and he's such a kind-hearted gentleman. But don't piss him off. He could get a little green. It's Louis Tonarini. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's up, man? I am, I'm good. I'm real good. How about you?
That's awesome. I'm good. I needed some days, and I'm actually kind of glad we did not record this podcast review of Volume 3 the night of or even the day after because I think I needed some time to actually process some of the emotions after this film. Boy, oh boy, man, it is something heavy if you are an animal lover or if you have pets at home or just have any sort of soul. It is tough, but it's all good fun.
You know what? Never mind. I was gonna say you might as well hit that spoiler button right now, but we could probably do our stuff and hit it a little bit later.
Sounds good. Well, what Louis is referring to is how we kind of warm up every episode. And so we know we have a lot we're going to talk about with Guardians of the Galaxy. So let's just kind of get some of our fun stuff out of the way because this was also Free Comic Book Day. So we're going to talk about that in this segment we like to call
MCU for you.
Alrighty, Louis. It's just you and I today. Just the two of us. What has been MCU for you since I've seen you in 3 days? 3 days ago?
Yeah. Well, we haven't recorded in a while. It's been a long time. And by the way, I love our friends, but I love when we just do the two of us. It's like a nice thing.
It is.
The biggest thing that I could think of for MCU for you is last week, the week before, maybe. I did the Stark Wars Trivia Challenge, the second annual one, where I competed against other podcasts in a Star Wars / Marvel trivia extravaganza. And I went in as reigning champion, and I acted like such an a-hole because Devin went undefeated last year and won the whole thing. So instead of saying, nah, I don't know anything about Star Wars, Devin asked you, well, I'm talking like you're not, like I'm not talking to you. You asked me to be in the thing. So I got my son's WWE title belt and I put it on and I was like, I'm the man. I'm coming to end everybody. And part of me was like, maybe I should watch a little bit of Star Wars before this or like get a recap or something. But I went, you know what? Not doing it. I'm going in with the knowledge I have right now. And
well played.
I competed. I won the first round by the skin on my teeth. I got a question completely wrong and they gave me the answer. Good enough. And then I beat that gentleman from the Dudes Who Watch Cartoons podcast. And then I went up against friend of the show from the Unqualified Heroes podcast. And his name is Danny. I was going to say Zach.
It was just on our last Guardians episode.
Yes, he was.
Shout out, Danny.
Danny, and he beat me. I lost in the second round. Some of my favorite things from there was Devin. I was surprised at the beginning. They said, "Oh, we have questions that Devin gave us." You know, you have a Devin question area. I was like, "What the hell?" So you asked Star Wars questions and Marvel questions, and then I texted you. I said, "You're a bastard." Oh, I hope you don't get any of my Marvel questions right. I said, "You fucking asshole." So
no, I think that's why you're mad at me. I was saying that as in I hope you don't get my questions like asked to you. I was hoping you don't get them because there are some really hard ones I had. That's what I was worried
Oh, I
about.
thought you said,
Not that you get them right.
I hope you don't get them right. And I was like,
No, of course I wanted you to get them right. I wanted to win the title
I
again.
was like,
I wanted Earth 994 to be a two-peat.
uh.
No. This whole time you're probably thinking I was an asshole.
I don't think you're an asshole. I just thought we were
Oh, that's funny, actually.
friendly banter. But the one was about Yelena's vest, and then we turned that into a running bit. And then I can't remember some of the other questions, but my favorite one that I tell everybody about, and I'm going to do an impression. It's not going to be a good one, but it was a Star Wars sound clip. I was like, okay. And Danny, who has seen Star Wars, was against me, who has not seen any Star Wars. I was like, here it comes. And it was just like, pew, 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 pew. And Danny's like, oh, that's the Death Star. And they were like, nope. Louis, do you have anything better to? And I was like, yeah, that's Grogu eating macarons. And they were just the faces I got. They're like,
Oh my
what? Were you laughing at me, or was I just being annoying? Or
Louis, if I wish I recorded myself watching that entire tournament because you gave me such I wonder if I was wearing my watch. If I need to go back because my heart was racing
why?
so fast it could have done the Kelso run in less than 12 parsecs.
I didn't know any.
That's a Star Wars joke.
I didn't know any of the answers. And then,
Dude, that was so tense because you and Danny kept on going back and forth, and I'm screaming like, "Come on, Louis, just do so." I was like, "You can do it." Just
yeah.
oh my god, continue. I'm sorry.
The guys were like, "No, that's not what that noise is." And then Danny tried again, and I don't remember what he said the second time, but it was a lot closer. And they were like, "Louis, I assume you don't know what it is." I said, "I know exactly what it is." And they were like, "Oh, do tell." I said, "Oh, that's the noise that was the brrr. That was Leia reaching back, unclasping her metal bra, and then it was her boobs falling. I go pew 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 pew. Oh my god, no! And Michael was like, "There are some Star Wars fans that just are holding their heads right now, man, because that is like a very famous sound to the point where Richard texted me afterwards, my very good friend Richard, and he was like, dude, how do you not know that noise?" I was like, what do you want from me, man? I've never watched this shit. So I still don't know what the noise was. Devin?
I should have queued up the sound effect. For those wondering what it was Jango Fett releasing the bomb in Attack of the Clones that everyone loves. The it like just cuts all noise. It's silent, and then bam, it's a sonic boom and everything. And now I'm actually blanking on the exact name of the bomb, but the fact that like you pulled some out of your ass, some questions that you got right on Star Wars, and I was
Yeah.
very impressed. Like I was like, okay, there's hope. You gave me hope in that second round. I was like, okay, Louis, it's tied 2-2. Whoever gets this question right wins. And you went first, and I was like, or no, Danny got it wrong, and I was like, what if Louis got it right? Like he's just like, oh yeah, it's this.
Grogu eating macarons. It was not that.
And then he said that, and I was like, oh god. And it was hilarious. But literally every time you answered something that you didn't know, there wasn't a single person who looked annoyed. Everyone was just losing their goddamn mind because you were so funny.
Yeah, they're like,
So
what is
I
this
thought it was
blurry
hilarious.
picture of? And I said, oh, that's little baby Grogu with his biological mother, whoever Gina Carano plays.
That cracked me up. But the thing is, you were right, except all you had to swap out was just
What?
the Mandalorian with Gina Carano.
Yeah. Whatever.
It was just funny because you were answering. I was like, oh, he knows it. And then you said Cara Dune. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh my god, it was hilarious.
I was not good at that. I had all the Marvel questions right. I remember there was a question about pumpkin bread or something. It was Tony Stark, and he said, blah blah, the best bread I've had in ages or whatever. And I was like, oh, I know what that's from. I was wrong, but I but the guys were like, I have no fucking clue. Dez from Two Black Nerds killed it, but he didn't know what it was either, and it was from Civil War. But I thought it was from Homecoming, because I knew it was Tony talking to
Oh, it was
May.
a sound clip one, right?
Yeah, it was Tony talking to
Yeah, that's
May,
right.
and I got that one wrong. But
That was
I would have had
a
a guess. The other guys didn't even have a guess.
yeah. There's some tough ones, but
They did have a
shout out.
guess. They guessed Iron Man movies back and forth.
Gotcha. Yeah, but shout out to Star Wars podcast. They did this the second time, and they definitely upped their game with adding all these different stuff for categories and things. And it was an honor and a privilege to be asked to contribute questions. And I apologize to everyone who had my questions. But I swear to God, Louis, I need to go back and do a tally. I think you had probably 60% of my questions, and they were all the Star Wars ones. And I was like,
You did a She-Hulk question, you butthead.
hey, man, apparently She Hulk,
You were like,
people do not like She Hulk. And
you were
I'm
like,
finding that out more today.
I like She-Hulk. And I was like, get out of here, you nerd.
I actually like She Hulk. The binge the show, it is immediately 25% better.
I don't care. I was just teasing anyway. What an ass. It was just funny because every time your name came up, they would all look at me. I was
You're like, God damn it. God damn it.
like,
Hey, but I'm actually very, very, very proud of you, Louis, for not doing anything about Star Wars and going into it just YOLO. You did pretty good. You went in the semifinals, and I think that's very very, very commendable.
they could have just said, name the Star Wars movies in order. No way. Or just name Star Wars movies. Get all of the Star Wars movies' names. Nope.
So that was another question that you and another person had where you had to name the movie, and I think you and Danny were going back and forth, and I was like, come on, Louis, just guess it, just say a name, just do it. And I think that could have actually, I think that was going to actually
I said it
win
was
the round for you.
I said it was Solo.
Which, Rise of Skywalker, and I was like,
which nobody knows is a
blowing my
movie
eyes out.
anymore. Like that they Star Wars fans have erased Solo from their minds. So no questions were from Solo, but I was like, Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh man. For those of you wondering what the heck we're talking about, go in the link in this week's episode. You'll see a cool little hyperlink going out to the Battle of the Podcasters second annual trivia contest or tournament. Forget the exact title of it, but it's hosted by Star Wars. It's on their podcast feed and is very entertaining. Or if you really want to have fun, I think you could probably watch the entire live stream. It was on Twitch. It's probably on the Star Wars YouTube channel. So if it's not in the description for this week's episode, just kind of give it a Google search on your own. But if you really want to have the best experience, highly recommend watching it because Louis gave it his all. He had props, he had the belt, and I was nope. And I tip my hat to you, Louis. It was good. You did very, very well.
Yeah. Thanks. Shout out to Dez from the Two Black Nerds. That
That's
guy's
some tough
awesome.
questions
He
too
killed
the
it.
entire time. So yeah, shout out to them.
One thing that shocked me, I have to say, was whenever we do our podcasts, I feel like we just, after the show's over, we all like chill for a second or talk for at least a minute or so. Right. And after everyone lost, they just signed out. But I didn't know that. I was just in a waiting room watching. So I thought when it was over, we were all going to be like, oh, guys,
man.
thanks. It was good meeting you. No, it ended and it was me. It was me, the Starcore guys, and Dez. And that was it. I was like, I got eliminated like 20 minutes ago. Where the hell is even Danny? What is going on right now? Everybody just left right away.
Man.
Gone. Oh, I wanted to
They
say
probably
goodbye.
didn't know, but also it was a long time. I mean, you were on there for like what, 2 hours? So
yeah, it took
some people really had to
a
probably go
while.
potty.
And I'm gonna let you go, but I do want to say that we're talking about Guardians 3 today, and we're all podcasters, and we had nothing to talk about before the show started that day. So we were all just staring at each other. So I fielded the question. I was just like, you guys more excited for Guardians 3 or Spider-Verse 2? And it was a we'll go with resounding. That's not the word I want. Unanimous Spider-Verse 2. Everybody said Spider-Verse 2 except for Oh, I'm blanking on his name. The other guy from
Tommy?
Star Wars. Tommy? Tommy. Tommy said, "Well, since everybody's saying Spider-Verse, I'll give props to Guardians 3."
Hmm.
And I genuinely hope that some of those guys are eating their words because they were like, "The last 4 movies for Marvel sucked." And I was like,
I see.
Ant-Man was I was like, "Ant-Man was awesome, first of all." And they didn't agree. But that's okay. Uh, so I really hope they went and saw it and they were like, "You know what? That was good as hell."
I think so.
So, Devin, I'm gonna pass it on over to you because I'll just sit here and talk for an hour and a
Thank you,
half.
buddy. Aside from my anxiety of watching your tournament performance, like I said, this past weekend, as of recording time, yesterday, May 6th, was our not our it was National Comic Book Day. So or free comic book day. So I went to my local comic book shop in Downers Grove, Illinois, and I got there an hour after they opened and they had pretty much door open. They had people stationed throughout the entire shop handing out free comics, which was an awesome idea by the way. And yeah, so I thought it'd be kind of cool if I talked through a couple of free issues I got. And I actually got a bunch of copies of some other ones. 'Cause I hit up another shop before my band practice. So, kind of show you guys what I got. I have the New York Times bestselling author Lauren Miracle, who wrote a Catwoman tale called Under the Moon. And so it's a little bit smaller size than a comic book. I don't know what this would be classified as, but it's all like blue and white, kind of like when you see at nighttime and stuff, entire illustrations like that. So it's kind of cool. So, no, we're not a DC podcast, and I'm not the biggest DC fan, but I am a fan of free things. So I will definitely read that.
But you're about to be.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later. Another one I got. So of course, being the Spider-Man fan that I am, they had this Spider-Man Venom story that looked pretty cool. And the first thing shown on here is Spider-Man doing a roundhouse kick to a gorilla. R.I.P. Harambe. And then we have another Spider-Man Venom story, which might be a variant, but no, it's actually a different one. So here we go, right here. Spider-Man and Venom. A lot of Venom stuff going on lately. Same with Carnage. I saw that on the racks and everything. It's pretty sick. What is this one? So this one doesn't look like it's Marvel comic book. It might be DC. Yeah, I think this is DC. But the illustration looks really cool. And so this is called Galaxy, the Prettiest Star, special edition. Here we go. Bam. Kind of pretty, right? And on the back, it has a preview of Super Pets. Yeah, so I'll check this one out later. And so, what else do we have here? I forgot how many I actually got. We have the Uncanny Avengers with a lot of stuff. I don't really know what's going on here, but hey, man, this looks pretty sick. I don't know who that is with this helmet on. That kind of almost looks like Judge Dredd mixed with Cerebro. I don't know.
Oh, hold it back
I don't
up.
know if that's supposed to be. I'm pretty sure that's probably not supposed to be Professor X, but I could
I
be
think
totally
I
wrong. I
think it's I
apologize.
think it is Professor X or like a
Is it?
no, I can't remember. It's not Professor X, but it's like a high mutant, I think. I'm wrong.
Hmm.
I don't know for certain, but when you said Uncanny Avengers, it's weird because it's always been the Uncanny X-Men.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why it's a little bit of a mix over here because you see Cap, Psylocke. I think this is Quicksilver, Rogue, Deadpool. I don't know who this in the bottom right is, and then yeah, so we'll see. I'll have to read it to find out, and I'll report back.
You got to look it up
And I got a few more here.
in your big encyclopedia.
Paydia that I can never figure out how to read ya. We got another one. We have Marvel Voices here, and it looks pretty sick. We have Storm. Who else we have? We have Miles Morales. We have America Chavez, Shang-Chi, another type of spider variant. Looks like Nova Hero here, Black Panther, and Spectrum and everything. So this looks pretty sick. Ba-da-ba,
Who's
number
your
one.
favorite Marvel voice?
Uh, Probably Jarvis. So it'd be
Mine's
Paul Bettany,
mine's Falcon.
Falcon. We're talking about actual voice, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
You know why.
Yep. And then we also have Red Sonja here too, which is pretty sick. It looks kind of like some old school kind of cover and everything. So kind of cool. And then I have another bag that's actually sitting in my trunk of my car, and I need to pull out what I got in there because I got some duplicates here, and then I got another cool. I think it was a Venom comic, or I got something. I was really trying to find, honestly, because of the Guardians kick. I was trying to find like a cool Rocket or Rocket Raccoon story, or even something to do with like Guardians. Um, but I didn't see anything yet, or anything that looked like it was early in the series. But I did pick up this one, which is Spider-Man Unforgiven #1. It looks pretty sick. Um, I don't know. It just looks like some mean mofos in the back and everything. Um, it says the Amazing Spider-Man in quote horror stuff. So this looks pretty brutal. Description says Peter Parker has the proportional speed, strength, and agility of a spider. It heats his fingertips and toes and the unique precognitive awareness of danger called spider sense. After the tragic death of his uncle Ben, Peter Parker understood that with okay, this is literally just Spider-Man's story. I apologize to that. I thought there was gonna be like a little hook somewhere, but yeah. Either way, I got a lot of free stuff, and I paid for a couple issues too while I was there because I wanted to support my local shop for opening their doors up and welcoming people who are novice or longtime collectors, and it was a pretty cool experience. And I also apologize to Louie. I don't know if you were out at doing family stuff, but I kept on texting him trying to see like, hey, do you have this one? Do you have this one? In terms of pop figures, I kept on seeing,
I definitely
and
appreciate it, but yeah, we went all over a bunch of different stores yesterday to get some stuff. But I have all the way 1 through 19. 0, well, not 0. Stanley has his own line. That's a 1. And then 1 is Scarlet Witch all the way to 19, which is the symbiote Spider-Man from Target Con.
nice.
And then 23, I believe, is the Hawkeye you just gave me. Number 20 is a Wolverine that
Mm,
just went. It's a Funko.com exclusive, and it's on the website, and it only says coming soon. And I check every day to see if soon is today because don't want to miss it. Also, Target is a pain in my butt because
oh yeah.
they just dropped 2 new ones in Iron Man and Cap, and those sold out immediately. So I missed the train on that one.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, honestly, Target can be a pain in the butt sometimes when it comes to trying to, especially when it comes to collectibles. Sometimes I've heard horror stories of people pre-ordering like 6 months in advance, and then out of nowhere, Target sends an email saying, "Hey, do you still want this? Answer in the next 2 minutes, or else we're canceling your order and refunding you." And they send it at like 2 in the morning, and that just sucks. So I feel bad for them, but oh well. All right, Louie. I think it's time we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because we have so much to talk about and we want to make sure we really talk about everything we're looking for. So let's kick it into that.
Boom. You looking for this?
Oh, we're looking for it. All right.
Oh man, Devin, who is your favorite Guardian?
Man, you're going off strong. Uh,
There's a reason.
I want to say Rocket Raccoon, but I feel like people are going to be like, you're just saying that because of the movie and everything. But no, I think it's always been Rocket, with Drax being the close second.
So
How about you?
here's the thing. The reason I asked is because I sit here and I go, my favorite is Star-Lord. I think it's Groot. I think it's Rocket.
Uh,
I think Nebula is my favorite Guardian. And it just changed. Like I know it's not Gamora, and it's not Mantis. And other than that, like I like Drax. I don't think he's my favorite, but like I love Rocket. I love Star-Lord. I love or not Gamora. Nebula. Lover. Groot. Like I keep saying over and over to Hannah, and she's just getting so annoyed with me about how badass Groot was in this movie. How incredibly awesome he was.
he was pretty cool.
And it's just like, well, I'm thinking about it, and like a complete simp for this movie, I just listened to No Sleep Till Brooklyn or whatever, and fucking Dog Days on repeat all day long. And it's
Oh,
just like thinking of the just the chef's kiss incredible fight scenes from this movie. And it just, Groot, yeah. And then, did you hit the spoiler thing yet?
Thank you for reminding me, Louis. So, if you're listening to this and you have not watched the movie for whatever reason, because you're one of those people,
I didn't spoil
let's just give
anything
you a
yet, I
quick warning so
promise.
you don't send us into anything.
Spoilers here.
Is that a spoiler?
Spoiler.
Just give us a spoiler?
You kind of did. Cut
Spoiler
that
alert.
part out.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, now you know. Now you know. Sorry, Marvel. Whoops. That's out.
Thank you, Mr. Holland.
Groot at the end of the movie, at like the post-credit scene, when he's a pile of rock or whatever. Not rock, but when he just looks like a big pile of something that they're leaning against, and then he gets up and he looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, it does.
Like, that makes up for how weird he looked the first time we watched the Guardians holiday special, and how strange he was in this movie. And just, he looked so cool. I was just in my head, I'm like, if they make that into a 10-inch Funko Pop or whatever, the big one, I'm buying it for sure. Oh my God. I love that so much. And I am on record over and over and over again saying Big Groot is best Groot. That Groot is so big. He was so cool looking. I loved it. Other than that, if we're just talking about Groot since I started, fucking dude, they go into the high evolutionaries thing and they're just chilling, and then he like turns his insides out and he's got like 10 guns. Oh, like this is incredible. Man.
So that is a good example of the trailer spoiling a really cool moment.
Didn't see it in the trailer. Let's go.
I was gonna say +1 for Louis for not getting that hinted at, because they show when he and Star-Lord go back to back. I was like, oh fuck, that's cool. But I feel like there was also a Funko Pop or action figure maybe that I saw beforehand that wasn't like a leak or anything that showed Groot with the extra guns. I could be wrong.
I saw Groot with wings.
Okay, maybe it was the wings. It wasn't the guns.
It was a Funko Pop
still,
of Groot with wings. Cool. And the Funko Pop looks stupid. Groot with wings was awesome. The Funko Pop was dumb. But that fight scene, just Groot and Quill, it was like, I love in like the video games or other stuff when they're like fighting together and like they throw the gun and the other guy catches it and shoots, and it's like so perfectly choreographed, and someone shoots at Quill and then like a tree shield comes over him. Oh my God, dude. I have bad news for you.
Uh-oh.
I was just thinking about this with Hannah the other day. Richard, my bestie, he is moving to Concord, Massachusetts by the end of this month. And in that, he will not be coming with us to the movies anymore. Ever since we started going to the movies, it's always gone Hannah, me, Richard, you, and then if you have somebody with you, they sit next to you. That's how it's always been. Bah, 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 bah. I think for Quantumania, Connor was there. He sat next to Richard. You sat next to Connor.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's going to go Hannah, me, you. Now you're going to have to sit next to me. We've never sat next to each other at the movie.
Have we never not?
No.
I mean, have we not?
No.
I swear there was one movie we sat next to each other. I think it was Morbius.
I know, because I had Richard on one side and Sev on the other side.
Venom 2. I think Venom 2 I sat next to you.
Okay, that's possible.
But still, yeah, like we never really sat next to each other.
Or maybe Hannah didn't go with us to see
No Way Home.
Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, maybe it was that.
No, No Way Home is my favorite. My favorite.
Richard.
No Way Home, Richard, and then me, and then that little baby that everyone else would have been mad at. But now, the reason I bring it up, now you're going to sit next to me and you're going to see that I am the most annoying person to sit next to because I'm so animated. Anytime something happens, I'm like, I'm like moving around. It's like, let's fucking go. I'm like clapping. I'm like, ooh. I do a lot of this shit.
Yep.
For those listening, it's like where you rub your hands together like something's gonna hit.
He's showing how to properly wash his hands.
Oh my god! So they were doing that fight scene with Quill and Groot, and I was just like, oh, let's go! Oh my god! Oh man, I had to.
It was a good fight scene, man.
So
It was very good.
to answer your question, they're all my favorite. I love them all. I put Quill in my top 5 favorite MCU characters, and I don't know if it's Quill or just the Guardians as a whole, because my love for Nebula grows every time she's on the screen. I don't know if you have a minor character that's so good
Mhm.
anywhere else. Like
Nebula's really come to the front.
she's so important, and she's like not like when you think of the Guardians of the Galaxy, how many are you going to name before you name Nebula? Probably all of them. And that's a problem because she's the man. She's the best. You're going to go, oh, there's Quill, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, Drax, Mantis, Kraglin. No, you're not going to say Kraglin. But like I was saying, it's going to take you a while. And Nebula, she's earned her stripes, man. She is the best.
Definitely.
She like was the president of nowhere while Quill was over there getting drunk. By the way, have you seen all the TikToks about that mannequin she's carrying?
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite, I don't know if I sent it to you. I must have, was when Gunn was talking with Chris Pratt about it, and he goes, "Yeah, everyone just came in and screamed." Did you see that one?
Yep. Yep.
He's like, "They did what?" So
Oh,
dumb.
it's so funny. For those out of the loop, that sequence where they're carrying the inebriated, passed out Star-Lord, that's actually a dummy. They built that, scale replica, I guess you could call it. I think they said it's like what, 25, 35 pounds in weight. But yeah,
35 pounds, and it breathes.
and it breathes. Oh, I did not hear that part. Wow.
Yeah.
That's an impressive model, man. That is very impressive.
And they were talking about it, and Gunn said he kept it in his office, and people would come in. And he said, "Yeah, they just came in and screamed." And Pratt, I thought he was joking with him, but at the end, I think he was dead serious. Pratt thought he was saying that people would come
Yep.
in his mannequin and then scream. "Ah!" James Gunn was just watching it the whole time. And I thought he was playing around. And then as you watch, he's like, oh,
He's
it
like, "Oh,
finally clicks.
no."
Like, you moron. That was hilarious.
That is James Gunn humor too, so that was even funnier.
Oh man. But I know I'm rambling a lot. So now I'm going to ask you another question before we really get into the
Hit
meat
me.
and potatoes of it all. Going into the movie, from experience, from my own head, I don't want to say lukewarm. I was jazzed. I was excited, but I wasn't like, I need it. Like itching. Like I was super excited for Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, oh, this is going to be the
Right.
best thing ever. This one, I was like, I really want to see it. I love the Guardians, but like, I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if they're going to phone it in because it's the last one. I don't know. And then I was like my expectations were lower, not low, but they were lower. And I came out, blew me away. So I wanted to ask you, how were you feeling before you saw the movie? And explain. And also, once you saw it the first time, how was it then?
That's a good question. So I've really been looking forward to this because it's been so long since we've actually had a real Guardians centric story. And we got a taste of it with Love and Thunder for the beginning. And then we also got a taste of it with the holiday special, which I adore. But after Quantumania, I felt a little let down. So I think I needed something really to pump me up more. And that's why I was happy. I mean, I'm just overjoyed with what we got. Gun delivered, the entire Guardians cast crew, they delivered. But man, the one thing I was going in expecting to be sad and to cry. And I was preparing myself around every corner, which I'll get to later, that we're gonna be saying permanently goodbye to someone in this. They're gonna kill someone off because that's what you do in stories. You kill off someone eventually. But pleasantly surprised at what we actually got and how they delivered the story. So the only thing that was kind of tough is that this movie is so dark. Like the opening sequence with seeing the little tiny baby rocket and all the other baby raccoons in that cage, when they do this zoom in on his face and have that close up, all I could see was my dog Hagrid's eyes and Trixie's one eye. I could only see their face like, oh my God. Oh my God. It just the entire time this movie's going on, all the heartbreaking scenes and everything with Batch 89. I just I could not wait to go home and just hug my animals profusely and not let them out of my sight the entire weekend. And here comes Haggard walking in right now. I think he's probably getting a little spooked from the storm and everything. But it's a movie that I need to come up the term with it. But you know when you get that weird like empty feeling or almost like a hangover, for Louie and I, we don't drink, so we'd never know. But like you just finished a good show. You just finished the last season and last episode of How I Met Your Mother, and that's it. But you want more, and you're like that feeling in your chest. Same people describe it when like you finish a book, and then you're like, "What now? I just spent all this time." That's why I feel after like this movie. I felt it after kind of forever, but this is like to the 10th degree. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to watch it again, and I did. I did see it with good friends in the band and everything yesterday, and it still hit well. And I'd talk about that later. But man, it was a ride, and I just have been having certain scenes in my head and everything. But I'm curious to see, Louis, has there been anything in the movie that's really like played over in your head, or you're like fixed on, like hung up on it in like a good way at all?
In a good way. Um, Man, like I just explained to you the Groot at the end, like in that post credit scene, I was in love.
It's
The
pretty cool.
the other thing is, like I said, I keep playing Dog Days on repeat,
Mm.
and my favorite is like when all the kids, the Jum Jum, I think that's what they were saying, Jum Jum,
Jim, or
and
Jip.
they all bring Drax out, and he's just like, at the beginning of the movie, he says, "Dancing's for idiots," and then like he's standing there, and he just starts moving his head a little bit. Then the music really starts over again. Run fast, and he's just like he's doing
This
the
is
fork
like,
in the garbage
ugh.
disposal. He's and that really like I think Nebula says at some point that he's meant to be like a father. And as a father, I was just like
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't cry. I didn't cry a lot. I only cried that one got me a little bit. I didn't cry, but I was like but
Yeah,
the one that got me with the tears rolling down my eyes was when Star Lord walks through the patio door and his grandfather sees him. He goes, "Peter." I was like,
mm,
"Oh my
that was a
god,
good one.
oh my god!" Like I can't watch. I just cannot watch videos of like kids seeing their dads that have been away at war.
Like the reuniting
And
videos.
then it's like a kid and he's being a kid, and then he turns around, his dad's standing there, "Oh, dad!" And he runs and jumps and hugs him. It makes me cry 100% of the time.
Nice.
No failure. So in that one, it's not the same, but it's kind of the same
Yeah.
where he sees him and he's Peter. Oh my god. And just, you know, that wave of emotion just hit me.
Dude, I'm really glad we've actually got some type of closure, or at least opening up a new discussion and exploring this area of the story in Peter Quill's life. Because I think you and I talked about this on episodes like months ago. I was wondering, like, after the events of Endgame, it was after we watched the first season of Miss Marvel. Like, I swear there was Guardians merch at Avengers Con in the first episode. So, with that being like in existence on Earth, I figured people at least probably know the names of the Guardians, and they probably know who Star Lord is, and they probably know he's from Earth, and that's Peter Quill. I gotta imagine like his family or whoever's left, like his grandpa, is probably like, "Holy shit, he's alive! Like that's him, but he hasn't come to visit me. What the hell?" And I was kind of wondering, like, are they ever gonna send him back? is he gonna ever like do anything with that? And so I'm glad that was a actually pretty crucial component of this movie, and I'm really glad James Gunn opened that discussion up. So um, I was pleasantly surprised that that was part of it.
Oh man. I don't remember much about Miss Marvel because it was a big turd. Uh, but yeah, I don't know about the Guardians. I assume if I don't know that Ant-Man met the Guardians, so he might not have said anything. And
Well, I don't even know if it's that. It's
To-
something else. They probably
Tony,
documented.
Peter met the Guardians. Peter Parker, excuse me.
Mm.
They're all fucking named Peter. Excuse me. But I never even really thought about it. And in the movie, Mantis is talking to Quill while they're doing the battery things. And I missed the part where, like, I didn't miss it, but it didn't click in my head because all of a sudden she's like, "Don't you have a grandfather back home in on Earth?" And I was like, "Where did that question come from?"
Yeah.
But it was about finding love or something like that. And then she's talking about like, "But he would love you, you dummy." And it took me a minute because I remember I looked over at Richard. I was like, "Where the fuck did that come from?" But
Mhm.
there it is.
All comes full circle.
Now I want to ask, we saw the movie Thursday. I went to work Friday. And I fielded some questions. Did you have to field any questions on Friday from people that knew you saw it on Thursday, or do you not have an MCU
I was working
base?
from home on Friday, and I didn't
Okay.
really have to worry about it, so it was kind of easy to dodge. But I know there's some friends where they weren't going to be able to see it until the weekend, so I had to just be careful what I mentioned in passing, kind of thing.
So all I kept saying I really enjoyed it. I liked it. Um, before we really dive in, I do want to just mention some of the stuff. My new, not new, but my supervisor at work, he asked me if he should watch the other Guardians movies before seeing it. And I said, first and foremost, you should watch them because they're good as shit. Secondly, yeah, you're gonna want to watch them before you see it. Another question I got was, "Hey, I heard this is the best movie since Endgame," and I went, "By my opinion, yeah, this is the best movie since Endgame. Spider-Man is
That's fair to say.
is close, but I think Spider-Man hits me in the nostalgia more than this. I
Exactly.
think this is an overall better movie." Uh Another question I got was from my boss is notorious for hating movies. I think I've told you about this. Not my supervisor, but my boss, like the head honcho. He goes to the movies all the time, and then he comes back the next day and you go, "Hey, how was Top Gun Maverick?" And he goes, "Sucked. Terrible. Worst thing I've ever seen." And then whatever. He explains it, he hated it. Cool. And
Oh,
then
God.
he'll go watch Fantastic Beasts. Sucked, hated it, stupid. He'll go watch
I don't know about that one.
Avatar. Sucked, same as the first one, hated it. Every movie sucked, 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 sucked. And so he knew I was going to see Guardians and he took Friday off. So at like 7 in the morning, he texted me. He said, "Hey, I'm going to see Guardians today. How was it? On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest." Because for whatever reason, he thinks I don't know what on a scale from 1 to 10 means. And I went,
Oh, God.
man, I really enjoyed it. But I know that if he goes, it was the Batman. I saw the Batman. I enjoyed the Batman.
Ah,
He hated it. And he really took
oof.
his anger out on me because I liked it. "How could you like that piece of shit movie? This, that." Anyways, so I was like, "Man, I'd probably give it like a 8." And he went, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go see it today." I said, "Bring tissues." And then I don't know, 4 or 5 hours later, he texted me back and he goes, "Hey, I just got out of the theater, and by my guess, you saw it and you probably thought it was closer to a 9.5, but you were afraid to tell me that because you know that I'm hard on movies. So that's why you only gave it an 8." And I went,
Hard on movies.
and I went, "Wow, this guy sees right through me, man," because that's exactly what happened. And so I went, and he, I said, well, what did you think? How did you like it? And he goes, I give it a 9.5. That was one of the best movies I've
Wow.
seen in a long time. I was like, what?
Wow.
Let's go. And
Been defeated.
so that was a good post movie question that I got. And I think my favorite one, because I didn't actually answer it, was my good friend Dan, who, if you're watching this, Dan, or listening to this, Dan, go see the movie before you've, like, pause us now, see the movie, listen later, man. Come on. But he asks me, dude, does Rocket die? I don't think I can see it if a Rocket dies, man. You got to let me know. Does Rocket die? And I sent him my favorite emoji, the
Oh, that's
emoji. And so, because Rocket does die. He does. They bring him back to life. He does die.
Got a
He
point.
flatlines.
Got a point.
And he goes to heaven and he meets Lila. And in one of the most badass parts of the movie, Lila sticks a robot arm out at him. She says, but not yet. And then, like, pushes him back into life. It was fucking awesome. But he does come back to life and he does kick major ass. We'll get more into Rocket later. But I did field that question. I said, Rocket was, yeah, he does die. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't tell him that. I just sent him the emoji. So, Dan, yes, he does. And no, he doesn't.
Well, Dan, we hope you saw the movie and you haven't been holding back the whole time based off of that emoji and everything, or the GIF, whatever. But man, Rocket, I mean, that's really the whole point of this movie, right? It's all about the quests of save our best friend or save their best friend. He feels like our best friend at this point because Rocket's
second best
awesome.
friend.
Second best. Dude, it's nuts. You know, someone also, I forgot who else listened to, or someone pointed out, they're like, how are they gonna say like Rocket's best friend is Peter and not Groot? I'm like, well, remember when Groot gets dusted and James Gunn said that Groot says father or dad as he's getting dusted, and Rocket is like trying to hold out and grab him. So I don't think it's really like the best friend relationship. I really think it is like a father son kind of thing. Even if, you know, your father is surrogate and like a tiny furry creature and you're a gigantic monster.
Father, Peter, but he wasn't your daddy.
Oh boy, man. James Gunn knows how to just to get the most emotional one-liners in every movie. I mean, when we talk about High Evolutionary, he has one of my all-time favorite quotes in the entire MCU in this film. What he says just completely describes the character, and we'll talk about him because he's gross. Ugh, he's detestable. But man, Rocket, did you really think he was gonna die? Do you think he was gonna bite the dust this movie?
No. I didn't. I did not. The reason I didn't think he was going to die is because they kept saying this, the end of the Guardians as we know them. And if Quill isn't going to lead the Guardians, I didn't think anybody, I really didn't think anybody was going to die, because it didn't make any sense for anybody to die.
Right.
But I figured Rocket would be the leader of the new Guardians, which we didn't do a preview show. I would have gotten that right.
Right. You know, I feel like once they started going really heavy on all the marketing materials with the posters, the trailers, the graphics, everything, all being about Rocket and really making you feel like, oh my God, do not hurt our poor boy. That's when I knew they weren't going to kill him, because then it's just way too on the nose. But still, there's something I want to give a criticism here. I feel that what I've seen from reviews of people talking about the film when they're like, grievances is that no one died. I have two thoughts on that being, don't have to kill people to tell a story and to end a chapter. You don't have to kill them all the time. Cough, cough, what if? But still, I think it's just such a movie trope and a story trope of like, hey, here's this beloved character. How are we eventually just going to send him off? Instead of letting him just live a peaceful life and letting him go into retirement, let's just fucking kill him. Ha ha. And I don't want to do that all the time.
Every movie we do a preview for, it's like, who's going to die in this movie? Who's going to die in this movie? Is Ant-Man gonna die in Quantumania? Is Cassie gonna
It's like-
die? Is
like,
a
why do they need to
Cassie
die?
variant gonna die? Who's gonna? No one has to fucking die, my guy.
Okay,
Fuck.
I'll take the credit for the Cassie variant one.
It's
I think that was
okay,
mine.
but I'm just saying. No, like
But
even
you
for
and I are on the
Ant-Man,
same page
I
here.
said no one has to die. Why are we killing people? And
Except for Kang, because we thought there was a million of them anyways. But I don't
yeah,
know.
and for this one, I was just like, I don't know. Like Drax, I don't feel like Drax would die. I don't understand how, unless he like sacrifices himself. But that doesn't make a lot of sense in my head. Gamora already died, so I didn't expect her to die again.
Yeah, that'd be kind of dumb.
Nebula, she is like Nebula, I hold to such a high standard, and I feel like everybody else doesn't. So if they killed her, nobody would care as much.
I don't know. I think Nebula's really come to the forefront that there would be a group. I would definitely miss Nebula. I think Karen Gillan is so damn good in that character. Like no one else could do Nebula as good as well as she does. And Nebula is she also stands out in this. But I wanted to say my biggest defense behind not killing any of these people, and then people might think, oh, at the very end, they're all like, how they all just decide all of a sudden, yeah, I want to go my separate ways, and I'm leaving, and yada yada, I'm done. And then they thought it was just kind of force majeure or whatever. Well, if you go through the movie, every single character gets a way to they like have the spotlight on them a little bit. Do more character development, tell more of their stories, talk about what they're interested in and what's in it for them and all that. But every character pretty much has a near death experience. Some, like Rocket, literally died. To your point, Louis, like he flatlined. Mofo was dead. And then he came back and, it wasn't his time. And that's kind of the theme here. A lot of them almost died, but not yet. So, of course, if you were on the like knocking on death's door and you've been doing all this crazy stuff, you fought Thanos, you survived, you defeated him, you did all this crazy ass like adventures and everything. Isn't it time maybe just to take a step back and a reality check? Like, I have other things I should try and do, explore, see the galaxy. Like, maybe it's time for me just to take a break. So I think it's completely deserving that they were at the end, like, you know what? Yeah, I want to take a break for a while. I want to be done. I want to do other things and not just be like, you know what? Because Peter's leaving, I'm going to leave too. They had so many close encounters, almost dying. Totally, totally makes sense. That's my 2 cents on this.
Do you remember in Wakanda Forever when Namor punches M'Baku? And I was like, oh my God, he's dead. Do you I was like convinced.
I thought he was dead, dude. That was a solid punch.
Drax gets shot by Nathan Fillion. And I was like, oh, and he went down. And I was like, oh man. And Nebula's or not Nebula, Mantis. Drax, she's losing her mind. I was like, oh shit. And then he shoots him again. I was like, oh my God, Drax is dead. And they're all like, get out of the ground. And Nebula's just got her hands up. Like, what do I like? I thought Drax was dead. I thought they killed Drax. And I was convinced of that until they got up and started walking away. I also would like to say, I don't know if this fits here, but I'm going to put it in anyway. I was certain Star-Lord died. I was in shock. I was in complete. It was similar to when Green Goblin stabbed Peter 2, Tobey Maguire. And I thought he was dead. I was like certain that he was dead. I was like, oh my God. And so when Star-Lord puffs up to look like me, I was like, oh my God, he's dead. Oh my God. And then I was positive. And I was just like, why hasn't Adam Warlock gone out there to save him? And at that point, I was like, well, he's not their friend. Why would he? I don't. And then you see a hand, right? The very biblical God thing with the hand. And I was like, oh my God. For that second that you only see the hand, I was like, Gamora went out there to save Quill. Gamora is fucking dead too. Gamora went out there because in Guardians 1.
Yeah, it was the first one.
Yeah. Gamora's out there
on.
and then he goes out there and puts the mask on her. And I was like, wow, full circle, man. And I thought Gamora like went out and like tried to save him and just she died out there with him. I was like floored that they did that. And then it ended up being Adam Warlock and he saved him. Um, here's a
That'd have
complaint.
been very poetic. Yeah.
Here's a complaint. Why didn't Quill have his mask or his helmet or his thing?
I think that's $1 million question that is kind of inexcusable, I guess. I've been trying to pick my brain without trying to just go into a full on rewatch and try and find evidence. I really don't have a way to explain where his boots are at, his rocket boots or his mask. I have no idea.
They don't even explain it at all. I don't know. I don't know.
I wonder if it's one of those things that was on the cutting room floor of a one liner or something that explains it. And because that got cut, that, had a dire effect on this explanation. My only thing I could possibly think of is that because of Adam Warlock coming out of nowhere, you know, basically kills Rocket, and then they're trying to save him immediately because he might only have like 48 hours. That maybe it's just one of those things that was in his room or some shit, and he just didn't have time to grab it. But that also seems kind of lame because I don't know. I really don't think there's a really good way to argue this without having like a clear indicator saying, "Oh yeah, it was destroyed and that was the only one in existence." But still, Rocket can build. He built Nebula's arm.
I'm not.
I don't know. It's weird.
The movie still gets a 9.5 from me, so I'm not picking anything. It's just
Agreed.
it was just a question. I didn't understand why he didn't have it. Like that's how he saved Gamora in the first one, and it's his helmet. And I read not read, but somebody had said something about it. How that's his original costume, the blue from the comic book,
Mhm.
and it's a shame that he never wears his helmet in this movie to go with his original costume. And I went, holy shit, he doesn't wear his helmet in this movie at all. It never even dawned on me until afterwards. But
Yeah, I need to go back and look in trailers too to see if he's ever seen or shown with his mask on at all. I don't think so, but that would be a clue of the whole cutting room thing. But yeah, it's weird.
also, if I had one complaint about the movie, I mean, there's plenty of complaints. It's a movie. You're allowed to make complaints. But
They all
one
suck.
one that gets me is probably just cut for time. I get it. Rocket's origin. It's all about Rocket, right? Like half the movie is like a back to Rocket, and he finally escapes. And I was hoping that they showed like the first time he met Groot, and then they just didn't. And I was like,
Hmm,
oh, I wanted that so bad.
it's a good point.
Because the first time you see Rocket, he's already with Groot. It's Rocket and Groot. And it's like, I don't need you to take me all the way to Guardians 1, but I would love you to just like, he escapes, he lands on this planet, God knows where, and there's, I am Groot. Okay.
Does Rocket mention where he met Groot in Volume 1?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I thought there was something he says. But I agree. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be something we get in the next movie,
Don't say
story, show. I don't know.
don't say a Disney Plus show. I will close my laptop right now.
I think they learned their lesson to try and avoid setting up for spin-off shows and streaming whatevers based off of little story beats in the movies, because I really feel like the whole reason why Ironheart was really shoved into Wakanda Forever was for her show. And guess what's not coming out this year? And with everything with the writer strike going on right now, it's going to be a while for a lot of things until they come out. And so this is a good example. Good example of why we don't want to be doing that a lot. And so I will also say, I will definitely not complain about having anything Guardians related in terms of a streaming show. I would watch the hell out of that. Even if it's just Nebula being a mayor of nowhere. It'd be funny. It's like, give me Parks and Rec, except it's nowhere and something. I don't know.
am I
I'd watch it.
Am I crazy? But like, I feel like certain characters are just too big for Disney Plus shows.
I think that's fair.
And I was arguing with Richard about it a little bit, and his big argument is Tom Hiddleston as Loki has his own Disney Plus show. But I feel like Chris Pratt is higher than Tom Hiddleston. Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, all the Chris's, Tom Holland, like the top tier guys, Robert Downey Jr. You would never see them on a Disney Plus show. I guess the argument is that the Guardians holiday special was on Disney Plus and Chris Pratt was in that. But like he was only in it for a little bit. He wasn't
Yeah,
the
it wasn't
star
starring.
of it. And so I don't know that they would make a Star-Lord Disney Plus show or anything with Star-Lord in it on a Disney Plus show. I don't know.
It also
Weird-
comes down to the moolah.
Weird thought.
Imagine how much it probably cost to have them for a 6-episode series at a minimum
Yeah.
for some of those people. Be a lot.
All right.
So, but I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think that there's plenty of characters you could look into this and be like, I can't picture them having a show. I can't picture Thor having a show. Honestly, it'd be cool, but I don't think that could
Brian,
work.
our good friend Mr. Marvel always brings up Thor coming into the Loki show, and I'm just like, that would no.
That's a
he's-
cameo versus being the actual
I
show.
don't think he would do it. Man.
Cameo, I think, is more probable.
I don't know. So we've talked a little bit about our favorite Guardians and stuff. We haven't talked about the bad guy yet. You said he's got one of your favorite lines. I do want to mention he just yells a lot. It seems he doesn't like.
Did that bother you at all?
It didn't bother me. Don't get me wrong. I noticed it. He wasn't a talking guy. Like where Kang talked until he was upset and started yelling. I feel like the High Evolutionary always yelling. it was something
Yep.
I noticed. It made me laugh. He's just like ah! All the time. All the fucking
He's
time.
intense.
So that was the one thing I noticed about him. Also, I am a big time like if something can be shown, it needs to be shown to me.
Mhm.
And so you see his face stapled to the side of his face, and I was just like, they need to show me that. I need to see what's under that. And I didn't think they were gonna until they did, and I was so relieved. It was such a big deal to me. I was like, thank you. Thank you.
Dude, so when we saw this movie yesterday. By the way, movie theater was dead on a Saturday at 5:00. Maybe because the weather was nice. I don't know, but still, it was dead. And so there was barely anyone in the theater, but there was an entire family with very little ones right behind us. And as soon as I sat down, I turned to my to our friend Joe, and I'm like, they are going to be traumatized. And granted, I was the only one the group who had seen the movie, so I knew it was what to expect. But Louis, can you imagine bringing Henry and Ada to go see this movie?
Not I'm not going to say no because of the movie. I'm going to say no because taking them to a movie theater sounds so terrible. It's like I was thinking I have a split second of maybe I'll take Henry to go see Spider-Verse. And then I'm just like that no. He doesn't shut up. Where I'm loud during movies cuz I get excited about stuff, he's just like he would have been like, "Why is that raccoon sad? Who is that guy? Why is he yelling at him? Why is he upset? What's happening? Where is this at? Where are we at? Who's that guy? Why is that guy doing that? Why does Groot have wings? How come he's only saying I am Groot? Oh my God, shut up. Shut up." And he would have been like,
Yep.
and so, no, I'm not, I wouldn't take my kids to a movie. Maybe I'll take Henry to see Blade in 2040 when it comes out, when we're both 75 years old.
Oh man, when we're of age, where our long last grandson will show up on Earth again, come visit us when we're on our late, whatever. Yes. My point being, those kids were very talkative and running around a lot, and they were tiny, and they talked a lot less as the movie went on, and I felt so awful for those poor kids seeing that grotesque face of the High Evolutionary that was mauled and scarred and deformed and just so gross, grotesque after pissing off of Rocket and everything, and just that scene. I'll talk about it next. But yeah, man, this is not a movie I would feel comfortable taking children to. And I even saw like a couple articles at opening weekend saying like maybe you should think twice about taking your kids to see this. This ain't the typical Marvel formula for good reason, and it's pushing that PG-13 rating pretty hard. But High Evolutionary Man, I get that he screamed a lot, but I'm glad he did because this guy is just batshit crazy. He's been alive for like 300 plus years, and he's just overly brilliant, but he's a mad scientist. And he's like, you see, he's using these illegal businesses and everything to fund his like illegal research and everything with OrgoCorp, and people know about it. He's got a reputation. He is fucking weird, and he is doing some really crazy, don't call PETA things. And so I thought he was a great villain, and hands down, he's one of the top 5 for me. Marvel's been doing really good with these villains because I didn't want someone can relate to. I didn't want to have any sympathy for him, and you shouldn't. High Evolutionary is a fucking prick, and I'm so glad. See, that's how I saw the Funko. Louis showing Groot with the guns. So that's how I saw it. I think before the trailer. But High Evolutionary, I'm so glad we got that quick sequence where he's trying to give his like explanation on why he wants to do all this counter Earth bullshit, and Peter's just like, dude, I don't care about your story. I don't want to listen to another villain because that's what we're feeling. And it's good. But I will give props. High Evolutionary, when he says there is no God, that's why I stepped up, or that's why I stepped in. Fucking incredible. That line tells you everything you need to know about High Evolutionary. He is evil. He thinks he is above everyone. He thinks he is pristine and prestigious, and just he is a god in his own eyes because he deemed it so, and he's using his intelligence instead as ignorance, and just arrogant in every stretch of them word. It's so good because you hate him. You hate him so much. And that's an excellent performance. But man, I could talk more about this, but Louis, was there anything else that you felt about High Evolutionary other than his constant screaming? How did he make you feel?
He reminded me a lot of Kang the Conqueror.
Right?
I don't know. I excuse me for saying that, but I promise I'm not. I promise I'm not a bigot. I don't know if it's because they're both African American.
No, I think it's their character demeanor
They
and how they portray
also
themselves.
get very intense. Also, he's got that little. He has the Force.
And both purple.
Yeah, they were both purple. Kang had the same kind of use the Force type deal. Um, but he was terrible. Also, still alive.
You think he's still alive?
They didn't kill him. Remember, Drax says kill him, and he's like, nah, not worth it, or whatever.
If you don't see a body, if you don't see it on screen.
So yeah, the only person that died in this movie, dude, was that Asian guy. Holy shit, dude, that was awesome. Sorry, sidetracked. High Evolutionary, big piece of dog shit. Before the movie came out, I didn't know much about him. Still not a whole lot, but everybody I was watching videos about said that he's going to lead to the mutants. I don't necessarily see that this character does that, where in the comics it might have been him, but it's a possibility. I didn't really understand his whole thing about like making the perfect society just because he was bored or something. I don't
He
know.
thinks everyone is flawed. I'm trying to think if there's someone similar to him outside of the MCU, but I mean, the thing is, like, no matter what he does explain, you no, dude, no. And speaking of villains and people who try and make an excuse, I had to tell a motherfucker in our first screening to get off his fucking phone. I could not take it any longer. It's when they're finally heading to Counter Earth and they land and everything, and there was a loud part. This guy was sitting one empty seat away from me. And holy shit, he was on his phone the entire time. For an hour into this 2 hour, 30, 20 minutes, or whatever, he was on his phone. Kept on like picking it up. Then he would laugh, and then pick his phone up again and like kind of scroll through brightness and everything. And I'm like, how is the guy who's literally sitting to the right of him, seat to seat, not saying a fucking thing? So you know what, Louis? I pulled a page out of High Evolutionary. There is no God. I stepped in and I told this motherfucker to get off of his goddamn phone. I was sick of it. And so here's how it goes.
You didn't go like, get off your fucking phone.
No, I had to yell because it was a loud piece because I didn't want to say it while I was quiet. I waited till it was a louder part and I was fed up. And so when it was loud in this theater, that's when I yelled it. So I reach over, or like I'm over, right? I'm demonstrating. This is why I should watch it live on YouTube right now. I reach over to the empty seat and I go, hey, can you get off your phone? And he also meets me in the other one, stretches over. He goes, huh, what? And he's smiling. And I'm like, can you get off your phone? It's very distracting. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, man. You know, it's just, I don't know what this motherfucker had the audacity to think he can give me an excuse for that I would sympathize or feel any sort of like, oh, it's okay, man. I get it. Kind of like response. What could you possibly say that would warrant me saying, oh, no, that's okay. Stay on your phone. You're in a goddamn movie. Like, I'm sorry, Hagrid. He just left the room. My poor guy thinks I'm in, like, mad. Oh, and he farted. Jesus. See? Oh, it stinks. And just like that motherfucker next to me. Don't go to a movie. I'm sorry, I'm screaming. Just like the evolutionary. Stop going to movies and staying on your phone like a fucking arrogant prick. Stop. This guy was a dick. He was a dick. He was a dick. He was a dickhead. I hope his phone broke on the way out. But literally, I could not believe it. So, Louis, to finish my story, and I'm sorry, guys, but when he said that to me, like, oh, you know, it's just, I cut him off and I said, no, stay off your fucking phone or leave. And then he got the message. And I kept on seeing him squirm for the rest of the movie where he wanted to look at his phone so bad and he'd use his watch instead. And I'm like, dude, just fucking leave. Just fucking walk out of the theater. I'm sorry. Just leave. If it's so important that you had to be on your phone, wait 3 months until the shit's on Disney Plus. Or go see this by yourself, rent out a movie theater, and then that way you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can walk around naked, jerk off in the middle of the theater. Don't do that. But you know what? Do it on your own leisure and stop disrupting people. And that is my soapbox. I will step off. I am sorry. But I had to point that out because that literally pissed me off. But I felt good for talking. I felt good for standing up. I'm sorry if I come across as Karen, but I'm at the point where I had to buy certain rows and certain seats when we go to see these movies the first time because people in the rows in front of us will be on their phone, full brightness all the time. And when I talk to an AMC employee, they talk to them 4 times. Don't kick that person out. So I stepped in. I'm not trying to compare myself to High Evolutionary because he is a total psychopath maniac. I am not that. I just don't like people on their phones. So.
We should
I'm
make.
sorry, Louis.
We should get Earth 894 stickers made. It says like Earth 894 podcast. Please get off your phone. But it says please get off your phone real big, and then it says sponsored by the Earth 894 podcast or something like that. And then when people are doing that, you just hand them a sticker. Here's a sticker for our podcast. It just says please get off your phone.
I like that actually. You'd be like, hey man, do you want to take the sticker?
It's a free sticker.
It says
off your
fucking phone.
That would be funny. I do want to talk about Counter Earth but I do want to know what the High Evolutionary said that stuck with you so well. Did you say it already and I wasn't paying attention?
What was that part?
You said the High Evolutionary says something and it's one of your favorite things that's been
Yeah,
said.
it was the there is no God
Oh,
quote.
that part. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
There's
that
another
was-
thing that stuck with my head, but let's talk about Con Earth.
I want to bring up the old F bomb, buddy.
Hey, another controversial piece. How do you feel about this?
It was amazing. It was the best.
It was good. It was funny.
I think that's the perfect way to do an F bomb in a movie where it's not offensive, it's not yelling, it's just like, I think you're pressing the keyhole. And then he's like, it's below that. And then she pushes the thing and she's like, now what? Open the fucking door. Dude, that was the best. And
It was funny.
everyone
was
is
funny.
giving Pratt shit because it should have been Nick Fury. It should have been Sam Jackson. Fuck that. That was awesome.
It was good.
He had to do it before Deadpool got here and just did it all the time.
Ooh, that's true.
I think that
I
was
have some behind the scenes stuff
perfect.
on that.
Oh no. It was
So-
improvised, right?
Yeah, that's what I found out. James Gunn said that was improvised.
And
I
then
don't know if that was meant to be, but Chris Pratt has got it improv.
yeah. Well, you said that, and all I could think of is him talking about wiping his butt. And it's just like every time you wipe, there's more poop on the paper. It's like wiping a permanent marker. Yeah, I saw that it was improvised and they weren't going to use it because they thought it was really funny, but they didn't know if it was going to be funny on the final cut.
Mm-hmm.
And then they played it in the final cut and they were like, yeah, this is still hilarious.
It's fucking hilarious.
And he was scared Disney was going to make them take it out, and they didn't.
I mean, hey, they played in the guidelines of the MPAA and everything. And that's what I wanted to bring up is that some criticism is out there is like, oh, it should have been something else. It should have been like Rocket saying Rocket Raccoon for the first time. It should have been like, I'm Rocket fucking Raccoon, or like, because I'm a guardian of the fucking galaxy. Like, no. The whole point, I guess, is like if they really wanted to keep the PG-13 rating, and don't shoot the messenger, but what I've read is that MPAA has very, very crazy ass, like going through some Indiana Jones level contraption traps to get the thing at the other side. When it comes to their rules on like what is a rating, what can you get away with, and I guess like it has to be even in a certain, like you can't say an F bomb in a PG-13 without like within the first X amount of minutes too. So I think that's why it hit after the first hour and like 10 minutes is when it takes place. If it was like in the very beginning, I think it would drastically turn this into a different rating. And I guess the context too. So if there was something more like "fuck you" or something like that, versus he's just like, "Can you open the fucking door?"
Open the
It's
fucking
funny.
door.
It's subtle, but it's funny because like, how many times have you had that level of frustration where you're like trying to tell someone to do something like SpongeBob, the lid, the fucking lid, like you know?
I was trying to show Henry how to ride a bike just today. So frustration is my middle name.
If I could just say real quick while we're on the F bomb, where would you place this in the movie? If you could take it out of that sequence and you just, is there another spot where you feel like it would have fit in really well?
I don't I don't love the we're the guardians of the fucking galaxy or this or that. It would be like when Drax kept laying on the couch. They'd just be like, Drax, just sit the fuck down. Something like that.
That'd be really good, actually.
Or,
And that could have been Peter, too, who said it.
or Nathan Fillion's character, who was hilarious, And he goes, yeah, it's the nephew. He's a little the Nathan Fillion's like, yeah, we got one of those guys too. I never know what the fuck he's talking about. Or something like that would have been kind of funny. But I think it was perfect. I think it was just like, open the fucking door. It was perfect. I if I had to, I wouldn't want to move it. I think that would have been And the best part is if they put it somewhere else, I would have never thought to put it in, open the fucking door. But excuse me, it was awesome. It was
Well
awesome
done.
right there.
I gotta say though, I'm impressed off the top of your head. Those are some pretty funny placements with Nathan Fillion's character, and then
Like I said, I don't.
the couch have been really funny.
Yeah, he kept laying down. Drax, just sit the fuck down.
Can you sit the fuck up or something? Did you know ahead of time that there was going to be an F-bomb in this movie?
Yes.
I did too. And did that personally? I was kind of bummed that I found out about that because in the whole time in the beginning, I was anticipating it. And then eventually I forgot about it. And I'm glad I did because it took me off guard and it was funnier that way. But I was disappointed because then I'm like, come on. Like to me, that's a spoiler. I don't know. Do you feel the same way?
A
Or
little.
felt the same way?
A little. Full spoiler alert for Deadpool 3. I read that Peter is coming back for Deadpool 3. That kind of annoys me. I think his name was Peter. Do you know what I'm talking
the guy
about?
who lived,
Yeah.
the random ass, like
the guy
Midwestern dad.
that Deadpool goes back and saves. He's supposed to come back for Deadpool 3. That kind of annoys me that I know that now.
Yeah, I read that too.
You know,
I feel you.
I like to be completely in the dark and just have everything surprise me. But yeah,
That's why I host a Marvel podcast.
yeah, it sucks, but I love it. Open the fucking door. It was amazing.
Chef's kiss. Counter Earth, though, was there anything else that you want to talk about with this kind of weird animal inhabited planet?
It was strange. I never know how they know what other species are saying, but it seems like they just do what white people do to Mexicans. Just go, it's over here. They just talk louder and move their hand in a circle. They're like, I'm looking for my friend.
You know what's funny about that? Like, yes, it's a trope, whatever, it's weird, but he's talking to bats. They have the largest ears. And they are very good with sound. And you're yelling at them to as if they're hard. I just thought that was very ironic. And I think that might be a subtle joke Gunn was going for. It's like, yeah, let's give him an animal that has very great hearing and do the whole talking very loud. And
yeah, that lady definitely had COVID-19.
Oh, God. Oh, that took me a second.
Because she was a bat.
Oh, man. Metaphor. Analogy. That whole joke. This is one of my favorite Nebula moments. I love Nebula, man. I would be sad if Nebula hit the bucket. Or she become a bucket because this bitch turned into silly putty and was kicking ass. When Mantis is saying that they're doing the explanations of the bad people, and Mantis does the like he's dying, and Nebula's like, they're gonna think he's already dead. And then what does she do? The again, was it for Drax saying he's stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah, she called him a dumbass. And then Nebula's like, no, they're gonna think the same thing though. Like, and Nebula just goes like, dead, dumbass. And it's the delivery is so good. I cannot wait to sound clip that.
Nebula's the best, man. She's so great. She's so great. I love Nebula to death.
She's good.
Yeah. So we've been just gushing about this movie so much, and we haven't even talked about hardly anything.
I have something I want to talk to you about.
Hit me.
Adam Warlock. How do you feel about him?
That's the guy. Adam Warlock, right? A lot of people are upset because he is supposed to be this badass dude, and then he's just not, right? My thing is, at the beginning of the movie, Adam Warlock comes in and he fights all of the Guardians separately. He calls Rocket a squirrel, which I thought was hilarious. But he was badass. Like, that's the Adam Warlock people wanted the entire movie. He just comes in and he fights Rocket for a little bit. Then he fights Star-Lord for a little bit. Excuse me. And then he fights Drax for a while. Then he I might be out of order, but that's okay. Then he fights Groot, and that fight with Groot was awesome. Groot was kicking his ass. Drax was also kicking his ass. But at that point, you're like, wow, the Guardians are really taking it to him. And then you realize that he is terrifying and just goes whole ass crazy. Like he's basically Captain Marvel to a point. And people are like, well, he's a doofus and he's an idiot and he's dumb. It doesn't bother me as much. I'm not a big Adam Warlock stan. I don't know much about him. They kept his powers all the same. He doesn't have the Soul Stone on his head, but that's because they introduced him after the Soul Stone's been gone. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So either you don't want him now that the Soul Stone's gone, or you do want him with a weird, not real thing in his head. So stop complaining about that. I loved him. I thought he was great. I think Will Poulter's cool. He adopted Morris. His name's not Morris, but the little thing that reminded me of Morris.
I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, cute.
I thought it was fucking hilarious. No one else in our theater laughed, but when not Aisha, that might be her name, but the high priestess, whatever her name is,
his mom.
She's like, Adam, show him we mean business. And then he just fucking melts this guy, bro. It was so fucking funny. And he's just for a long time. And and the guy comes up and he's just a skeleton smoking. That was so funny.
It was funny.
And no one else laughed. And I was like, dude, how did no one else think that was hilarious? That was like
Adam Warlock has like that smug smirk, like before they reveal, like, see, I showed him business.
That was like,
what the fuck did you do?
It was like when the Grand Master was like, I excuse you from life, and then hits him with the death stick, and the guy melts.
Yeah. Oh, whoops.
But it was so funny. And then she's like, how are we going to talk to this guy now? And you're like, you said to show him we mean business. I figured, what better way? And then the little guy was like, I'm going to adopt him. Like,
that poor thing, man. It saw so much death.
We have so many serious characters. They're going to make Thor back into a serious character, which my feelings about that. But like, Falcon's a serious character. Bucky doesn't make any funny things. He's so serious. Shuri, now that T'Challa's dead, she's not funny at all. Captain Marvel. Like, we have so many just serious characters. I get we have a lot of jokesters too. Ant-Man and Star-Lord and fucking there's more. Just trust me. But I just enjoyed the fact that he was allowed to not be this cosmic entity, just I am Adam Warlock here to stop the and it like it's a movie based on a comic book. They took the character, they made him a little bit different, but he's still the character. And I enjoyed him. I thought he was cool. I thought he was like a badass. I thought it sucked that the High Evolutionary just pinned him against a wall and he was like, I'm going to hurt him. And he's like, oh. I thought he should have been strong enough to break out of that. But, what do I know?
Adam Warlock, man, I'm okay with him. In the second viewing, it's like he's still funny and he is redeeming throughout. But sometimes, like, how many times did he pass out? Like he's about to fight someone and then he just stops. It became like a running like gag after a while. And that's why I felt it was kind of weird. My only complaint with this movie really is like, I really am surprised that we got this iteration of him like this. It's very strange and confusing. Like in the comics, if you read the Infinity War, basically the Infinity Gauntlet comic and everything, Adam Warlock is the one who comes up with the master plan to trick Thanos and everything, and pretty much is the one who saves the day. And the whole Soul Stone, that's a pretty big thing too. And I kind of wonder what the heck that little diamond on his forehead is. But I would honestly pitch the theory that I think eventually the Soul Stone's going to come back and he's going to get it in his forehead. How? Why? When? Where? Who? What? I don't know. Say it for another day, but probably do with Secret Wars if I had to be honest.
Loki made the Infinity Stones not matter anymore. I feel like
And that's my thing. I feel like it might not matter. And that's why I'd be okay if they brought it back. But I think it'd be cool to explore the Soul Stone. But that's maybe another episode for another day. Top
I
5.
I was a little weirded out that you didn't see his like not his birth, but like he was in that cocoon and you were like, ooh, and that was Guardians 2 45 years ago. You were like, let's go.
When there was like 6 credit scenes.
And then they just don't show him. Like the only sovereign you see is him and his mom. And it's like, really?
I wonder if
There-
that's a cutting, like a cut scene,
There was a
like the
whole
birth of him.
it was a whole planet full of gold people. You suck, Xylar, or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
no.
nice going, man.
In this one, it's just the two of them. And I was like, yeah, that's a little strange. And then you find out that the High Evolutionary created them. Sure.
I mean, it makes
Whatever.
sense. I think I think that's actually comic accurate from what I've read, but also don't shoot me if I'm totally wrong on that. But it makes
Yeah,
sense. I mean,
I've
gold
never
people.
I've never read any comics. It doesn't I don't need stuff to be comic accurate. I just need it to be fun for me. But I just I loved it. I did. I liked Adam Warlock a lot. I thought he was cool. I don't think he's as super badass, Omega level fucking guy that he's supposed to be. We already have Captain Marvel. We don't need another unstoppable force. I think he fits in right where I would like him to be.
Mhm. I think there's going to be plenty of room for him to grow into who he's supposed to be. I really think it's all just setting everything up into Secret Wars. So it's okay. But Adam Warlock was still funny. Like what you were describing, just being a silly character. Like one of my favorite moments is when he goes in for the group hug and he just starts like slowly approaching and he just like taps and then he goes like full on like body drop onto them. It's so funny. It's cute. And so I think it'll be funny. I just didn't expect him to be a guardian. That's also the kind of the strange thing.
I kind of did. Kind of did.
I I think what I meant to say is like I just never would have thought I'd see Adam Warlock as a guardian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Guardians, I'm sure you've already seen that this is James Gunn said, so it must be how it is. But at the end of the movie, in clear Vin Diesel voice, you hear it.
Mhm.
It's all about family. No, he says, I love you guys.
Uh,
And you're like, whoa, Groot talked. We all heard it. And the big rumor, I'm sure you've seen on the TikTok, as the kids call it, was that Groot said, I am Groot. But now the audience knows what he's saying. That's why nobody's like, what? He just said something different.
yeah, the first time it's like, wait, how are they not doing anything?
They didn't lose their mind. Oh my God, Groot talked. No, he said, I am Groot, but we heard what he actually said. We speak Grootanese for a lack of something less racist to say. What do you think? What do you feel about that? The fact that you can now put bilingual on all of your job applications.
Muy bien. Trilingual.
Trilingual, dude.
Trilingual.
You speak
Triangle, bitch.
Brazilian.
Dude, honestly, like, I thought that's kind of cool little sentiment, and it tracks because right beforehand, like, Gamora finally understands him, and I think that's kind of your hint. And I don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm cool with it. I mean, if we can or can't, but I think either way, it won't. Next time we see Groot, when he talks, it's still just going to be I am Groot. I think that's I love you guys is just a little, literally, just a thank you and a love letter to the fans, and just like a one off. I don't think it's Groot's always going to talk now. Vin Diesel might be like, shit, I actually got to act now.
I hope not. All right. I know we have so much in this movie to talk about. We'll probably talk about it a lot more, but I do want to end. We've gone pretty long here. I do want to end just talking about at the end the Guardians go their separate ways. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Um, Mantis. Well, I will just go Guardian by
My
Guardian.
Guardian.
Mantis goes off with those. I don't know what they're called. The big squid things from Guardians 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see Mantis again?
Yes.
Yes. I agree.
100%.
I don't know where. I don't know when. I don't know why. Like, it's weird. She's just got these 3 big things with her. I have no clue where she comes into play again. But I do think we see her again.
Disney Plus.
Rocket and Groot. I'll put them together because we saw them at the end.
Mhm.
Clearly, we're going to get more of them. Probably another Guardians of the Galaxy movie. If not, of course, Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, right? Chris Pratt as Star-Lord.
Can I can I take this moment to mention how I have a little theory I thought of last night when I was driving home from the movie?
Is
that
it what
I
you
guess-
posted on Instagram today?
Yep.
I hate you so much.
I posted on Instagram, I posted on TikTok, and I posted it on YouTube Shorts. And I have found a collective audience of everyone who fucking hates what I had to say. And I love it.
So here's my biggest problem with what you said. You know what? Say what you said.
Yeah, I should say. So for those who don't know, go check it out. I just had this little funny idea. It's just an idea, and it's a silly theory. But I love Wang the Conqueror, so you know what to expect here. Gamora and Star-Lord finally have their kind of like closure. I think that's why Gamora's in this, is for closure. And so because of that, and now he's on Earth, I think he's going to go back into the dating game a little bit. You know, he's going to play a little swipe left, swipe right. You know what I mean? And who is he going to swipe? Is it right what you want? Or is it swipe left? I don't know. I've never used it. But I think he's going to swipe in favor of a certain green individual who is feisty and very independent and also fierce. And who could it be? Who's also very horny and probably single? Miss Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk. I have a theory that I think, he's got something for green women. And so I think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Star-Lord checking up with She-Hulk. And people fucking hated that. Oh my God. I want to read some of the comments in just a second because they are gold, sovereign gold. But people are like trying to remind me as if I don't remember her, Matt Murdock, and people are like, no, she was Matt. She was Daredevil. I'm like, I'm just saying to be funny. And love is blind.
I did comment on Instagram. I said, boo. Not my only problem. There's lots of problems with that. First and foremost, he lives in Missouri and she lives in San Francisco. Secondly,
You don't think he can travel?
I mean, you said you've never used
Daredevil
Tinder?
lives in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
She lives in California.
So
why was he there?
You said you don't use Tinder, but if he's just chilling in Missouri, he has to have his radius so big to get all the way there.
Maybe he's going on a trip and he's just trying to get a weekend run,
Regardless, the whole point of him going back to Earth was that he's always like hopping around different love life for different women, or he loves Yondu, and everyone that he loves dies, and he's so focused on Gamora.
Mhm.
Before Gamora, he was banging the Ascavarian chick or the pink girl. I don't remember her name or her race or whatever, but it was just to slow down, go back to Earth, just work on yourself. Don't get into any dating things. You just be Star-Lord. Just be Peter Quill. That was my big. I don't know if you have a bunch of comments like that, but that was the whole point of him going back to Missouri.
no one actually looked at it logically. Oh man, I'm cracking up. I'm gonna go in the best hits here, but it's just so funny. And like I said, I just thought it was funny to point it out. It's just a little thing. Is it gonna happen? Probably freaking not. But I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to hit on her, and then maybe there's a little altercation. Uh, but I'm also really glad that Star Lord is back home. I guess he has a pivotal role in on Earth and everything in, or at least in Secret Wars, the second iteration that they're probably setting up for with the incursions. So I think that's why they don't want Star Lord to be dead yet. They want to keep him in because he's probably gonna. Who knows? Maybe he leads the Avengers. Who knows? But I'm excited to see him on Earth more. About damn time. So one of my favorite comments here. Star Lord has taste, so I doubt he would sink so low for She Hulk. Damn. Um, that's like one of the only ones picking at her. A lot of them are picking at him. One that I love here is hopefully never. Star Lord is peak. She Hulk is garbage. She'll make Star Lord garbage too. I love these comments because they're like, where do you even come up with this shit? I want to be like, this comment is not peak. This comment is garbage. Another person just says, absolutely not. Someone just says, She Hulk was already with Daredevil. Okay. Another one that was funny here. Someone just says, Matt, quote, no. As in, I think they're trying to say Matt Murdock says no. Then someone goes, that's reserved for another flyboy. Then someone said, please no. Then someone goes, I don't get it. This She Hulk likes smarter blind guys. As in, Star Lord is a dumb blind guy based off of that comment. That's why I'm laughing. And then this is the one that takes the cake. I'm not going to give a shout out to this guy. Eridus.ko on Instagram goes, he's going to eat a lot of Earth food, fall into the pit, and eventually get the job at Bonnie's Parks Department. Full circle, MCU, Parks and Rec is canon. And that's how we get Chris Pratt in Indiana. And that made my day. So I am overly joyed off of that little idea because of the just shit post comments and everything. It was great.
That being said, Chris Pratt as Star Lord, are we getting that back?
Well, yeah, they said that after credit, the legendary Star Lord will return.
Yes, but it was a white screen with a black background. No, with black letters. Where usually we get a black screen with white letters. So does that mean that something different's coming?
I wouldn't be surprised. I guess I'm only going off of what I've heard hinted at. I guess Star Lord has a sister. Well, a not Mantis sister, like an actual sister, sister. And I guess maybe that's also a little clue as why I went back home. And I think in that post credit scene when he's talking to his grandpa about, I assume his wife or his neighbor, talking about mowing the lawn.
Yeah, I think it's for his neighbor.
Yeah, the neighbor has someone who, like, I don't know. I feel like that banter was silly, but I also could feel like it's pointing to something. And I kind of wonder if that's going to set up the next Star Lord. That'd be my guess. Not Mantis as Star Lord, but someone actually like him. Maybe it's a cousin. I don't know. I feel like there's another family that he's going to connect with, and that, I don't know. Maybe there's a celestial connection there. I have no idea, but I feel like there's something a little ominous about that.
All
Or what do
right.
you think?
I think so. I read a headline. I don't read. Let's be honest. I don't read the whole thing, but I did read a headline that Chris Pratt's open to coming back as Star Lord as long as it makes sense, or if something comes up that he wants to be a part of, whatever. So I think he'll be back.
Those headlines, I never buy them because they always ask those fucking questions when they're doing the press tour right before the movie comes out or while it's coming out. Like, yeah, no dud. He's not going to say, yeah, the post credits shows that I will return. So obviously I'm going to come back. You keep it open. You dance around the question answer game.
True.
So to me, it's like, I don't know. It's like, hey, Louis, are you going to return for the next episode of Earth 894. If it's a good episode topic, I will return. Cheap, 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 cheap. Oh, oh. I'm a monkey. Also, that is not a monkey. That was totally a robot, and it was hilarious.
All right. Nebula. Do we get more Nebula?
I hope so, man. I hope so. After this, I would love to watch Nebula take the center stage more. She's just so funny and entertaining, and I would just love watching her get so upset and frustrated, but try not to like kill those kids who are pissing her off during the rescue. I love her, man. How about you?
I think we will get more Nebula. We'll see her again. I don't know when, where, why. Probably the next Guardians movie. You know, I'm sure she'll have uh communications with Rocket and everything. They
Right.
have this beautiful, beautiful friendship now. Um, yeah. Now for the ones that I'm not so sure of. Kraglin. Are we gonna?
Hmm.
Is Kraglin gonna? He was in that Guardians team at the end, but he is also James Gunn's brother, and he follows him like a dog, like a little dog.
I
Is he gonna split fully and just be a part of that DCU thing, or is he gonna come back as Kraglin and run the Kraglin gauntlet? You know,
I'm sorry. Even if my brother, sister, whoever ended up going and they're gonna be the president of the other studio. If I can still be a fucking superhero in the other franchise, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it.
well, I mean, he was
There's
in the
no way he's
Suicide
gone.
Squad. He was the Weasel.
Yeah,
Is that guy a
it,
dog?
right. And
Yo, is
so
that guy
I
a
think
fucking werewolf?
and he ate kids. I don't think he's going anywhere other than just fading into the background for a while. I think this whole iteration of the new Guardians team, I don't think we're going to get them until Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, whatever the next big Avengers team up movie. I say that's the next time we actually see him. But also, who knows? With all this crazy fucking writer strike, I have no idea. This Comic Con is going to be crazy, y'all.
That's above our pay
Exactly.
grade. Um, Drax.
I could only see him showing up as a cameo and only on Nowhere, like showing him teaching. Or they say, hey, where's Drax? I'd love to see him. He's like, oh, he took all the children on a field trip to his home planet. Oh, wait, his home planet's destroyed, right? By
Yes,
Thanos? Yeah. So he would take him to somewhere else. He took him to Disneyland.
just a they always say like Batista's been very vocal about he doesn't want to work with anyone that's not James Gunn for Marvel. He was upset that they didn't ask him to play Drax in What If. He's just a big he's like he's done. He doesn't and one of the things was he doesn't like being in Drax shape all the time.
Yeah, he's
It's
getting
hard
older.
it's hard to be like he was old 10 years ago. He was old 20 years ago when he was wrestling. Now he's like he's old.
Hmm.
I mean, he's in his 50s. He's old. And I don't blame him. But also in this movie, he was not shirtless at all. So it's not hard to just not be in Drax shape. I mean, you got to have kind of big arms or whatever, but he's Dave freaking Batista. He's gonna be jacked.
And it wasn't even the shape because it was the makeup too, because he'd be in that makeup chair for like 8 hours or something.
Yeah.
And so that's a good cheat. They got to put on the suit. He wasn't shirtless, so all he had to do, I think there's a photo he posted. He only had his face, neck, a little bit of his tiny chest, that like by the collar, and then part of his arms were painted. So he didn't actually have to get the full on like crazy stuff that he had to do when he's shirtless. So that saves like probably so much time. And I
Yeah.
bet that everyone's happy with that.
I would love to see Drax come back. I don't know though. It's a toss up.
I'm just glad he didn't die. I'm actually really
Yeah,
glad.
same. And Gamora.
I think Gamora's actually done. I don't
You don't
really
think
see
we're
a
gonna
need for
see
her to show
Gamora?
up. The only time that you'd see her show up is if it's like a big battle. Here's everyone fighting portals equivalent scene again. I think that's it. She done.
Fair enough. Zoe Saldana has also said she's she's done being Gamora. So,
Yeah.
um, I liked Gamora. I liked the Gamora we had. I didn't care too much for this Gamora. She was okay. She wasn't my favorite, but she wasn't
She's
my
a
least.
real dick.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Uh, I saw your letterboxed. I think you gave it 4.5,
Yeah, 4.5 out of 5. So that pretty much is a 9 out of 10. You
9
double
out
it.
of 10. I'm going 9.5 out of 10.
So good, man. So good. I think it's the first time you and I have come to the same rating almost in a while.
Well, you usually do sevens. Sevens are safe.
Yeah.
And I usually go higher because I'm a little simp boy and I just love stuff.
You love this Marvel stuff, huh?
Yeah. So I'm going 9.5 out of, or yeah, 9.5 out of 10. I loved it. Can't wait to see it again.
Ah, dude, it's I'm 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 glad I got it out of my system. Well, not out of my system, but I'm glad I got to see it again. But I need to wait. And a lot of this, and we didn't really talk about them, but all I want to say, I'm so glad we got some justice for Teefs, Floor, and Layla.
How the fuck
Or
did we
Lila.
miss those guys, Lila?
Dude, we danced around it, but like I kind of didn't want to talk about it too much, but like I texted Louis on Friday while I was at work and I posted about it too. I'm not kidding about this. I had to fight back tears just sitting where I'm at now while I'm working and typing up a press release because all I could think about the next day after that first screening was the scene when Rocket gives one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the entire fucking cinematic universe of Marvel. Just screams after High Evolutionary kills, essentially his love of his life right in front of him when he's so close to finally getting them all out. And then Floor in the background just keeps saying, Teef's rocket floor go now. And just keeps saying that on repeat and repeat. And it's just like it adds to the tension and Rocket just keeps screaming. And then finally there's a shootout and they die. It kills me, man. Floor is the one where every time I saw her the second time, I just wanted to cry so bad. It just, I- damn, dude, like these animated creatures got me, and I'm like choking up just thinking about it. And it's, oh, dude, that scene is hard. That scene is hard, and that's the one that makes me want to go pet my dog and my cat immediately. But oh man, we'll talk about. I think we'll have to do a round two with the different Spectrum podcast. Have those guys on and talk about this movie because holy shit, we need some therapy.
I'm sure they're going hard on this movie.
Oh my god, yeah. Any final
Well,
thoughts for you, Lou?
no, I was gonna say on that note, we can call it a night and you can actually go pet your cat and your dog for a while.
Man, so good. So good.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about the movie more and everything.
And now we don't really have anything up until Secret Invasion. So guys, start stocking up on your aluminum foil. We're gonna have some scroll watch. It's gonna be good.
2023.
Now that's where I'm going crazy. I'm gonna have a new theory every day. That's my goal. Every day, new scroll theory.
You're gonna be
And it's
so
gonna get
disappointed.
worse every day. If you think my Chris Pratt or fucking Star Lord and She Hulk thing is banana, just wait. Just getting started.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on Earth 894. We love doing this for you. We're going to get back into the swing of things coming up here soon. Please follow us on Instagram. Tell your friends about us. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, if you want. Join our Discord.
Hell yeah.
Email us. Do all sorts of good stuff. Leave us a review. All that podcast stuff. Do it, please.
Yeah, it helps us grow tremendously. Every time we get an Apple Apple Podcast review, it definitely helps us reach a new audience. So if you like the show, please share what you're thinking. And even if you already done one, you can do it again. And it shows what your most recent one is. And if you do a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, take a screenshot, send it to us, and we will happily happily send you free stickers, courtesy of us. The two assholes, or no, two jackasses just kicking grass. I combined like 3 different references there, and I messed them all up.
It happens.
So don't forget that in the review. But Louis, it's been a blast, man. We'll be back to talk about this some more and some other things going on with the MCU in a future episode.
Yes, sir. Actually, our next thing is probably Spider-Verse. I don't know if we're covering.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're
it
covering
counts.
Spider-Verse. I would like to, but
Hell yeah, we're covering Louis, if we covered Morbius, then we are going to cover Spider-Verse.
True.
Across the Spider-Verse, Part 1. It's done deal. That comes out June 2nd, right? Yeah. So we're only a few weeks
I don't
away.
know the exact. I thought it was like June 6th, but yeah, I wasn't sure.
We're going to be eating good. 1 month. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be out. We're flying out. So, see you next time.
All right, everybody. Bye.